mashup of Vagabonds of Dyfed and X-Crawl. X-Crawl is an alternate reality setting. It's produced by Goodman Games, and it's a little bit extreme dungeon crawling. It's a little bit alternate history fantasy fiction. X-Crawl is set in an America where instead of trying to found America on sort of Greek-informed Renaissance and Enlightenment values, America gets founded on Roman-style Republican values. And by Republic, we mean that we are now in the reign of Emperor Reagan the First, may he last forever. And it's also a D&D-esque world with an Underdark filled with Svartalfar, and there are dwarves living under the mountain who come up to be a part of this world. And there's a long, long history of settlement and exploration of the United States and the suppression of the one god cult, because, of course, they follow the Roman gods in this setting. And we don't need to know any of that in particular. I'm just sort of letting you know that that all exists. And you can mess around with it or not as you please. However, the focus of X-Crawl is extreme dungeon crawling, which is a spectator sport created to excite and opiate the masses. Adventurers go into dungeons which are artificial. They are produced by somebody called a dungeon judge. And the dungeon judge's responsibility is to design a dungeon that is challenging but fair, and to follow the rules, create something exciting, pump up and promote that dungeon and the different crawls that take place in it. Fill it with monsters, fill it with experts. It's very Hunger Games, but also D&D. So X-Crawl is kind of a beautiful setting, because if you just want to have really zany, tough dungeons, but you don't really want to justify why that dungeon exists in this particular way and have people rolling their eyes about, oh, huh, another pit trap, joy. Who puts a pit trap in a dungeon that's already underground? X-Crawl's great for that. X-Crawl creates this really good framework for why a dungeon exists. But if you want to go beyond that, you can go outside and deal with kind of how scummy and crap society is. People do die playing X-Crawl. People do die exploring different settings outside of the world. It's not really as tame as it could be. Technology itself is at a 1980s sort of level. So think cassette tapes and Walkmans, and everything is really big and nothing's miniaturized, and nobody really has computers unless they're a total egghead. But magic is in kind of a fancy place. We have something called arcane video screens that might pop up during the crawl, which are like the perfect Big Brother combination screen that you view something on that is also a camera that's watching you. So yeah, it's very Hunger Games, it's very Running Man, but it's also very D&D. Cool. Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
That sounds good to me.
Cool. So who are you guys thinking about playing?
I kind of like the orc.
There's a surprise to all of us.
Well,
But if I think Ben should pick first, because this is his first Gauntlet game.
that's tricky. This is going to cause a nasty standoff here, because of being British, I'm incredibly polite, and I couldn't possibly take a character that someone else might want to play.
I also kind of like the dwarf, so whatever you choose, it's okay.
Yeah, I kind of like the dwarf, I've got to say. I think I'd pick the dwarf.
All
Unless
right.
anyone's got a real strong feeling that way, then I'll pick one of the others. I don't mind.
All right, seems like dwarf is claimed. That's great.
Okay.
So feel free to fill in your player name underneath Shalea's portrait. If you feel like changing her name, go for it. If you don't worry about it.
I like it.
And familiarize yourself with the contents of Shalea's character sheet. It's kind of dense. Vagabond's characters seem simple until you fill out the details.
Okay.
But you've played Powered by the Apocalypse games before, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're not really lost here. You're just
No.
You're just settling in.
Yeah, I had a scan through the as I say, the PDF, and yeah, it all speaks to me pretty well.
You're probably going to correct me on rules questions, is the truth. All right, so who's next?
I'll take the orc.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're stuck between a human wizard and an elven thief.
I can be happy either way, so I cede my time to Mark, the gentleman from North Carolina.
Well, don't be a wizard, Paul. Hello?
Hey,
Yep. I'm sorry, what did you say?
I don't like playing wizards. Could you play the wizard?
I will happily play the wizard.
Okay.
He's such a wizard. That's his avatar. So
teamwork makes the dream work. You know, you guys are being so polite. I'm going to start you with one in the teamwork pool. Boom.
sweet. I'm glad I didn't start yelling curse words about playing the orc.
Exactly, see? Good behavior is good for you. All right.
What are the next pieces you want us to fill out?
Well, let's see. You've got all of your different regular tags right here, which are sorted as, you know, your approach, your gimmick, your goal, your background. They're all relatively straightforward. And if they're not straightforward, such as your core flaw, I've got a little bit of a rules clarification beneath it. What's new to the X-Crawl hack that I've made is that you each also have a fame tag. So fame is under techniques. Underneath fame is something called your signature move that we'll get to in a moment. But I'd like you guys to take a few minutes to define your fame tag. So this would be something that the fans really know you best for. Fame tags can have the same content of richness that all of your other tags have. Kind of prefer them not to be super blunt. I've got some examples of fame tags inside of the custom moves tab. It's going to be the bottom right column underneath player principles. So those example fame tags are top seeded in the Division 4 games. The Division 4 games are games played with boffer weapons instead of lethal weapons, just for your reference. Shot Torok the Man-Eater right in the eye. Or perhaps you're known for being a total shill for Apollo custom arrowheads. Maybe you got your start in women's rugby. So if you think about these things and decide that one thing or something like that applies to your character, please write it down. And that is your fame tag. Your fame tags come into play when you are grandstanding for the crowd. When you grandstand for a crowd, you describe how you do it. We determine your aptitude and your role. One of your fame tags and either your foreground, approach, or background tags must apply whether it helps or hurts you. So if you're famous for being a shill for Apollo arrowheads, but in this grandstanding role, you're flinging around a competing company's axe or something, that fame tag might hurt you.
How many fame tags do we get?
You get one to start with, and you will get an additional one if you level or if certain criteria are met through the course of the game. So, for instance, I believe if you take the crowd from neutral to fanatical, you get a fame tag. Stuff like that. Yep, when the crowd becomes fanatical, everyone on the team gains a fame tag. If you win this dungeon, everyone on the team will gain a fame tag. If you have a moment of glory, I would give you a temporary fame tag. And a moment of glory is like those Cinderella story 1 in a million shots kind of things. And we'll know it when we see it. Sort of deal. Like if you're like, can I do this total BS thing? And I'll be like, sure, but you've got to roll a 13 plus. And if you immediately do it, that's a moment of glory, that kind of thing. Nice, nice.
I see that I need to pick a craft or art form. Should I be looking at that stuff now, or are we waiting to do the lineage stuff? I just have to pick something. I don't know whether anyone else really has to do a pick.
Okay. Yeah, feel free to pick your art form or craft now. What do you think Shalea is really dedicated to as a craft?
What about poisons? Could it be poisons?
That doesn't seem to make much sense. Where would she learn crafting poisons in the Temple of Apollo?
Has she learnt it? Are we new to X-Crawl as characters?
Yes, you are relatively new.
Okay.
Actually, at the very bottom of your character sheet is a background introduction for your character. Sort of give you an idea of what they're all about. Maybe there's some craft that Shalea is extremely talented in that her parents forced her to learn and she doesn't really care for it that much, or perhaps it's something that ties in with her dedication to Apollo. I should do this. Also, I mean, consider what in a modern or semi-modern setting dwarves might filter into as craftsmen.
I'm thinking like maybe tinkering with electrical equipment, because I know it's got a flashlight and a radio. So maybe it's that kind of stuff. It's just being good at fixing things up. Yeah, electronics, yeah.
Sure, go for it.
Is that crafty enough?
That is fine with me.
Okay, I'll stick that in the sheet there then.
Sure. All right, cool. So let's see, we've done our want board. Thank you very much, guys. So there's that. It looks like ELF brand tech and weapons. Get the best, get elf. Nice. Very cool. All right, so it looks like we've all gotten our fame tags chosen. Now we need to build our signature moves. In X-Crawl, a signature move is another thing that your fans know you for. It's, you know, it's a named move, and it consists of a call that is like a catchphrase or pointing into the stands or some other thing that you do to signal to fans who are watching you that your signature move is about to happen. So if you're the Rock and you're about to give somebody the people's elbow, you do the flex and you pat your elbow and you make like some serious eye contact. And then you give somebody the people's elbow, you go right on them. So think about, for your character, what this might mean, what this might look like. When it's time for your signature move, you'll determine your aptitude, you'll roll it, and you'll have choices available to you depending on how well you roll. Those choices are things like activating one of your signature move options, or nobody on your team, including you, is left exposed by your theatrics, or taking a +1 to grandstanding rolls until this room is over. The thing you're most interested in, I hope, is signature move options. So those options let you do some kind of bonus thing. They're not as good as a technique necessarily, but they're certainly about as good or a little better than equipment. So gaining a speed until we clear the room, gaining some kind of positive tag until the room is cleared, a little bit of movement after you make the move, or giving your allies some kind of cool benefit. There are a lot of different options available, and if you guys level up during this game, you'll get a new option to choose from. So I think fictionally, you're going to want to start with what your character does in a dungeon that is their signature move, that is their badass attention-getting thing that they do. They've spent a lot of time training to learn it. What does it look like? What do you call it? And what does it do?
How does my move look, Jen?
Well, you need to give it a name, but
Well, where's the name part? I'm sorry.
oh, just write the signature move. You can be like,
I see.
the pinner downer or whatever. Don't do that, but certainly give it something flavorful. Let's see. Switching your bow to your good arm. How flashy is switching your bow to your good arm?
I was thinking it was like really obvious. Like I come to a complete stop and like I shift my gear around, and then I pick up the bow and I switch it from my left arm from my right arm to my left arm, and I hold it up as I start reaching for the arrows.
I like that. It's very like, I'll have you know, I'm not really left-handed sort of quality to it. So enemies' actions are suppressed, allowing teammates to sweep up. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay. The enemies have to stop and deal with my arrows, allowing my teammates to come in and hit them better, or I'm just guessing it's something the move can do. So.
Oh, sure.
So, Jen, on the custom moves down here, starting at row 35, don't you have a few suggested options we could take a look at?
I do.
That's what I grabbed. I grabbed one of those.
I'm sorry, I did not specifically call out where those options would be, but it kind of sounds, Mark, like maybe what you're looking for is on row 43 of custom moves. In that left-hand column, your next attack, if successful, has the paralysis tag, for example.
Okay. Well, I know Rich has already taken that.
Oh, yeah?
Sorry, I was going for it.
So
yeah, I'll change that.
A lot of those, dear.
Change mine. It's good.
That's fine.
Is there anything approximating more of a stun than a paralysis?
I like the ones where they lose speed, so that's the one I'm going to go with.
Sure, absolutely. So I think for losing speed, you should say enemies caught in your move lose speed.
Lose speed. Okay.
So, yep, lose 2 speed for 2 rounds is, in my opinion, very good thief move. So, Rich, go ahead and take that paralysis tag back.
Okay.
Because
I was
you
going to
got
completely make a whole new thing, but that's cool. I'll take it.
it. Okay, cool. So, let's get back here. What on earth happened here?
I can go for the. I had the paralysis one as well, but I can go for the knockback instead. It kind of still fits.
Sure.
If you want,
I was leaning on the flail because that's the weapon that is in gear for Ajax. So I could go for something else if you like the paralysis, though. No problem.
No, I'm all right. I wanted something that was kind of stunning, if you see what I mean, like actually cause some sort of stunning type effect, and either one really works for me.
Okay.
Something with a bit of weight behind it was fine.
Yeah, the idea of it being stunned and knocked back is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Knockback is good. Yeah. I'm gonna 2 speed for 2 rounds. So that's gonna help you guys a lot, I think. Lasso of Flame. I like that. It's very wizard. Cool.
Just trying
Cool.
to think of a cool name for this. Nearly there.
Paul's being quiet, but I just want to point out that his custom move looks awesome, and I can't wait to see it. The signature move looks great.
And I'm calling it the Flaming Cowboy. Just
Yes.
so there may even be a yeehaw to go along with the flame shooting from his palms.
Tricky D approves.
Nice. The ankle breaker. Cool.
That's all right.
I'm not 100% sure about my fame tag being great, Jen, if you want to look at it and have anything to say about it.
Let's see here. I like it, but if you're not satisfied with it,
I was thinking the way that it sort of played into the take the easy way out is that he did it by kind of avoiding a lot of the obstacles instead of.
see, so I would make this more into like the Thieves Guild has a grudge against him because, you know, he beat their speed record in collegiate crawl and they think it's cheating, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I will add that
Yeah.
because that way that gives something within the party for us to a little friction.
Very cool. All right, and let me tell you, the sponsors sure like Shalea because if she doesn't kill the star monsters, it's expensive to get new ones. So very cool. All right, so I think we've got that character generation material sorted, and that rules. Does anybody have any continuing questions, concerns, anything, any detail they want to change about their character before we get started? No? Good.
No, it's good.
All right, then I'm going to open up with a few questions. You guys have been invited to the Motor City Crawl, which is in Detroit. So I want you guys to tell me a little bit about what you did in the last crawl you completed. Let's see here. Shalea, could you tell me, how did you hold your own in your last crawl?
How did I, sorry?
How did you hold your own? How did you contribute to the team's success in the last X crawl that you guys were in?
Well, I went in first, just trying to do things totally by the book. So be the healer. That's what I was telling myself. Just do what people expect of you. And at the end of the crawl, things got tight and we were surrounded by a whole mob of creatures. And that's when I pulled out my Hammer of Justice signature move.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the fans had seen it before, but this was the second time I did it, which planted this mace and took out the lead creature in this mob. And that just gave them, suddenly there were rumors around about how on earth does that work? Because it doesn't look like a particularly powerful blow. It's got kind of one of those slightly, it looks like a sort of pulled punch, but with the end of the mace. And so, that kind of stunned the mob, and then the rest of my group were able to take them out quite easily.
All right.
Something like that.
That sounds good. Ajax, what were the monsters like in the last crawl you were in?
It was... Yeah, I'm going with my first thought. I think it was, from the way they looked, very similar. It was a family of bugbears. They were branded. I believe they were prisoners.
Well, you, seeing as how your ambition is to become an adventurer in your own right, explore ruins for glory, combat, you might know that X-Crawl employs a lot of rangers who put in a lot of effort to find and trap monsters specifically for use in X-Crawl. So, all right, was there anything else special about the bugbears that you ended up fighting?
Oh, it was disallowed when I tried to take ears. I thought that would be cool, but evidently that did not pull well.
All right.
Are there referees? Are there rules? Okay.
Yes, yeah. There are referees and there are rules. I'll try and do a quick breakdown of ref and rules before we start the actual action proper. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me make myself a nice little post-it. Shazam, now I hopefully won't forget. I'll only ignore my post-it. All right, so Zaster, what was there in the last crawl that you were in with your team that you couldn't handle by yourself?
There was a crushing ceiling trap that I couldn't deactivate on my own. I had to have help. I think there was something about statues or gems or something like that. And I really wanted to take the gems, but I couldn't. So
all right. Richard, or should I call you Mayday?
Definitely Mayday.
Mayday? All right. Here we go. Scratch.
And I think back at the guild, they probably call me Hayden.
Cool. Shit, I had a really good question for you. Oh, yes. So what prizes did you guys get for participating in your last X-Crawl, and why hasn't that income stretched nearly as far as any of you wanted it to?
Well, it was, we were given a bunch of quasi-magical gems that had, they were like, they had glamour spells so that anyone wearing them would appear more attractive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And unfortunately, we let Zaster negotiate, and apparently he didn't know. Apparently he went to a fence instead of a reputable dealer. Is that cool with you, Mark?
Yeah. Should I be playing on like this is like I'm naive or stupid, or there was something in it for me, or what would you have me playing
I'll
on
let
that?
you pick, but I would think that given what I see on the sheet, that it may be that you got a kickback.
Okay. All right. So I didn't get as much money for us, but I did get a kickback, and so I'm having to pretend to be poor just like the rest of us. Understood.
Cool. All right. So the next few questions are going to be kind of given out to the party in general. What are some rumors that you've heard about this city's X-Crawl and its DJ in particular? The DJ for the Detroit Motor City Crawl is Nanjala Okori, also called DJ No. And she is known for being very city loyal.
I have heard that Nanjala Kore has some kind of shamanistic powers. Like her loyalism to the city is more than wearing jerseys with Motor City written on it. That she can actually tap into the spirit of the city, as it were.
Cool. Does anybody else have any rumors?
Well, what I've heard is that Detroit is filled with druids, and they all seem to respect Dr. No, or not Dr. No, but DJ No, in a way that doesn't make sense. Like they have their own druidic hierarchy, and yet they seem to defer to her instead of through it.
Interesting. Very cool. So, everybody, is there anything that, in your imagination, at least, because your chickens haven't hatched yet, is there anything that you've already spent this crawl's winnings on?
My graduation party.
We've got a really cool axe on layaway.
Getting an axe on layaway really amuses me.
my stuff's all going to Apollo, I think.
Yeah.
Whole winnings. I didn't give any winnings last time, and I feel guilty about it. So it's all going her way. His way, sorry.
Brand.
And that really pisses off my parents as well. So that's good.
Stick it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A brand new set of clothes.
That's going to be some fancy clothes. I don't know how much we win, but it's got to be decent, surely.
Well, it's all branded, so.
Got to get that Gucci, man.
Well, there's a red carpet, right? Like, what are you wearing for this X-Crawl? Well, let me tell you.
Well, you're in Division 3. I wouldn't get excited about red carpets until you're at least near the top of Division 2. But that's where you're aiming, so.
Dress for success.
Exactly. Just dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Meanwhile, here's Ajax, just leather loincloth, streaks of blood. He's set.
To accessorize.
Yeah. All right. So now on to team questions. Everybody, how are you feeling about your team before this crawl?
Ajax feels good. Ajax knows that we've got all the boxes checked for party makeup. We've got our wizard, we've got our thief, we've got our cleric, we've got our warrior. Checked all the boxes there. I think got a really good chances. Ajax is excited about our opportunities here. He's working on a third-person thing, but he drops out of the third person occasionally. So that's his shtick. He's developing.
Just it needs work, but it's a theme. People eat it up. Mayday, how are you feeling about the team just before this crawl?
I'm feeling pretty good, actually. I just recently found a shorter version of a couple spells that and they take a little bit less effort, and so I think that I'll still have enough energy to go out for a drink after we're done. So I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Well, good luck to you. All right. Zaster, how do you feel?
I think that, I'm definitely got my head in the game, and my assistants are really pumped. Looking forward to, bouncing off of them and, really helping show the teamwork that we have.
Excellent. Shalea, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling kind of worried, honestly. Worried that the team that we're only in the 3rd division. Golden Archer, Apollo is not going to be smiling on me or us if we don't pull our socks up and get up those divisions where we belong pretty quick.
Hopefully that'll happen. All right. So, who gave the pre-crawl speech? What was it about? And how well did you think it went over? I'd like the team sort of to collaborate on this one.
Is this like a pep speech from the coach, or is this like a speech to the audience?
That is a good question, and I would like you guys to decide on that. Also, your team could have a coach that they've hired. A coach does require money in order to coach you, but it's a possibility, even at a very low division. So if you want to elect and name a coach, go for it.
I had a coach once. All he did was make me chase around chickens. It's really not worth it. I was supposed to catch them with my hands. Made no sense.
Nice.
Well, guys, so who? I mean, I can, speak for us, but I don't want to do so without, everybody chipping in.
Ajax's vote would be for Mayday because he's about to graduate. This could be the thing. You can keep that video, show it to his family or whatever. This is a great graduation speech kind of deal. That's what.
Yeah. So thinking about it, I think that the context of the pre-Krull speech is that it's intra-party, even though it might be caught on video and almost certainly is and televised. It is, in general, supposed to be the team talking to the team. So it's that pep talk. And then I think the other thing that you were talking about was maybe a hype reel.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. So I think we're going to skip past that for this, mostly because it's Division 3 and we want to save a little time.
Okay. Makes
just
sense.
as role players. Sure. So is Mayday getting conscripted because it's like, come on, man. What if you get valedictorian? You're going to have to give a speech then, too. Warm it up.
I will laugh if someone suggests that I might get valedictorian, because I'm really only crawling because they decided to let me graduate if I did, so without taking finals.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but sure, I'll play it up. Why not? If that's the decision, if everybody is looking to me, then I will do the absolute least I can to fulfill their expectations.
Excellent. So what's your speech about?
My speech is about how we're going to, I know we have to show off. We have to, we have to make this look good for everybody watching out there. But really, we want to focus on efficiency and making sure that we don't waste steps or energy. We got to do it the smart way. We have to work smarter, not harder.
All right.
Well, I, for one, am inspired.
All right. So, Ajax, how do you feel about that?
Ajax approves. It was not quite as exciting as Ajax was hoping for. Little cerebral, but okay.
A little bit. Zaster, how do you feel about that speech?
Well, I said that I was inspired by it, but
what I think it means.
but I've heard better. I've heard better.
All right. So
I've given better, to be honest. But
well, nobody asked you to do it. Maybe next time you should volunteer. Yep. Shalea, how do you feel about it?
I feel that I'm not sure what they mean by smart, because smart in my book is let's try and keep it relatively clean and come out of this looking honourable. But I know the other guys' special moves are all about basically killing stuff in visceral fashion.
So you're feeling a little...
Maybe it'll work out.
A little neutral? Okay. Mayday, how do you feel about your own speech? Do you feel energized after giving it, or kind of like, oh, Christ, now I'm definitely owed a second beer?
I think I did what I set out to accomplish, Like, I said words and everybody nodded, and, that was fine.
And then it was over and nobody yelled at you. Cool.
Right, exactly.
Cool. All right. Then the last question before we actually get started. Did your team win your last X-Crawl event? Or did you place a little bit lower than first?
What does winning mean in X-Crawl?
So actually, this is a great time to actually go through and explain the X-Crawl rules, such as they are. So X-Crawl has some general codified rules. In order to win, you need to go through room to room and complete the levels of the dungeon. Some dungeons have more levels than others, especially, of course, the Division 1 dungeons are longer than Division 3 dungeons. And then there's Unlimited class, where the dungeons are red hot bullshit. But in general, the structure for both sensibility of play and pay-per-view dollars is that each night is dedicated to clearing one level of a dungeon. And you are competing against other teams to try and complete that level the fastest, while also not dying. So the team that completes the dungeon in total with the lowest time is the overall winner. So in fact, an X-Crawl game, if you're experiencing it as a spectator, like if you're subscribed to the pay-per-view channel, or if you're going down to your local stadium to watch, it can be kind of ongoing for one team to be up against another team, because it's like, okay, so this dungeon's 3 levels and it's going to be over, 3 different days, and those days could be a week or 2 apart, or they could be, chop, 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 and it's a marathon, which would be a notable feature of that particular crawl. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, EXPN, I like it. Very cool.
Yes, Mark, I stole that. That's good.
Very, very good.
How many teams take part then? To win, how many teams would we be having to beat to be better than? Load?
Depends on how many teams are invited to the crawl. In general, nobody's got the resources to run a dungeon for 10 teams at the same time. So I believe that most X-Crawls are 2 or 3 teams up against one another at the same time. This is actually kind of a mechanical / fictional weakness of the X-Crawl setting, where they say you're competing against other teams, but then they never mechanize that or really mention it again that much. So the core of the action is really you living through the dungeon, even if the play is expected to be about a bit more. In general, you'll be kind of tracked for your sportsmanship. There's actually a points system that I'm not going to get into because it's long. However, in order to maintain the dungeon, in order to maintain you, a dungeon has staff. A dungeon has referees. A dungeon has medical staff. I've actually named the referees and medical text for this dungeon. Your referees are Sam Battleaxe Batson, Natombi Brightstone, Dokilta Chili Losa, and your medical techs are Lucio Bernardi and Lupita Flores. So whenever you see these guys out in the dungeon, they'll have what's called a non-com badge. It is an enchanted badge that says non-com on it. You aren't supposed to fight them. Monsters aren't supposed to fight them. If at any time they feel threatened, they can touch the badge and say a magic word, and they will be teleported straight out of the dungeon. If you attack a non-combatant, you may be ejected from the crawl. If you interfere with a non-combatant's duties, you might receive some kind of penalty or infraction, or you may be ejected from the crawl. X-Crawl also has something called no-go zones. So at some point in the future, I might describe the dungeon as having a door labeled no-go. Those doors are usually not locked. They're not a part of the dungeon. And as the clever name should tell you, you're not supposed to go there. They're like maintenance doors. Or, I was in an escape room just a couple days ago, and there were a few things that were specifically labeled with their own iconic sticker, just to let you know that they weren't a part of the room at all. So stuff like the room's thermostat had a special sticker on them so that we would not destroy it looking for clues. So no-go and non-com is a lot like that. If there's a plumbing maintenance door inside of the dungeon, it's going to say no-go. And you can go through it because they are almost never locked. But if you do, you're disqualified and you have left the dungeon. So don't do it. Is there any other questions or anything I'm missing?
Good.
Cool.
So I think that there were 3 teams in our last crawl, and we came in second.
Okay. Nice. And you all lived, and that's great.
Sounds good to me.
Not only did we live, we got a copy of X-Crawl, the home game, which is really useful.
How big is the box, Rich? I gotta know.
It's like a Ameritrash game, so it's like big, tall box, wide. You actually can build your own. There's only 3 presets, but you can build your own.
You know what? Expansions. That's what that's for.
Well, it is built for expansions. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so you guys are going to start out with a teamwork pool of 6.
You're so teamworked.
You're very teamworky, and it's very cool. All right, so there is that. So, all right, it's the Detroit Motor City Crawl. You are camped out in the green room, getting the last checks on your equipment finished, waiting for the call to go out into the dungeon. The horn blares, letting you know that's the signal. It's time to get off of the couch, strap down your backpacks, and actually enter the crawl. Yes, you leave the green room through the big heavy door, a producer with a non-com badge and a little overhead mic nods to you all. It's like, good luck. You've got a big crowd tonight. So let's see. All right. You walk in. You're in a hallway, but the hallway is made of thick, impenetrable, see-through Lexan, like some kind of plastic on all sides with, ventilation holes and so on. And you can hear the crowd and see them, and they can see you as you walk towards the dungeon itself. So you can see people who've gotten some signs and they're cheering. Some people are a little less enthusiastic. It's a relatively neutral crowd, but the stands are decently full for a Division 3. Guys, what does one of those signs say?
Well, I hope that one of the signs says, some burn them down, because I painted up several of those and stuck them near some kids and then paid them a couple copper to hold them. Well,
at least one of those kids managed to do this, to bring that sign in, and he seems into it. If somebody with the correct level of sophistication were looking, I think he's just excited because he feels like he's performing to a crowd. All right, you are.
There's a sign that says something like "Don't choke," in reference to our last bout.
Oof, oof. Is it an elf who's holding it?
Oh God, that would hurt. So yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah. So it says "Don't choke," and it's in like this golden cursive paint.
Oh yeah. It's written around on the inside of a ring, so it some sort of movie or TV, maybe a book series. I don't know. There's some reference there.
Harsh. Yeah, they're
the one ring to diss them all.
the one ring to diss them all. So I've neglected to give this crowd tags, but you're in Detroit, the Motor City. I feel like, do we want to give this crowd conflicting tags? Do we want to give them blue collar and druidic?
Yes.
Nice.
All right. So keep the crowd tags in mind when you are doing things like grandstanding or other roles that might attempt to sway the crowd, because talking to a blue-collar crowd as though they were a bunch of aristocrats doesn't get you what you want. And talking to the druidic crowd and saying things like, I'm going to cut down every tree I look at, also not going to make you popular. Basic stuff. So you get to the end of this brightly lit Lexan hallway. Oh, Ben has left for a moment. Hopefully we will see him soon.
Yeah, he was having some connection issues. When he comes back, we'll ask him if he wants to turn off video like Paul has.
Yeah.
I think it's because they're all trying to connect to you, Jen. Like, your internet is dragging everyone. That's the only. Okay, that's a terrible theory, but it's posited.
Okay, well, positation accepted. By the way, our sponsors for the Detroit Motor City Crawl are Bellerophon Motors, for when you need your car to fly, Ajax Adhesive Company, stronger than grease, and the Detroit Salt Company.
I don't understand why the adhesive company won't use me as their spokesperson. That's my name.
They got it first.
Sue them or something.
I'd be very interested to see how that turns out.
Not well.
It's a different game.
Totally different.
Yeah, no, if we were doing a longer term game, that would be a definite downtime element. Ajax versus Ajax. Or in fact, Hank Tybalt versus Ajax. All right, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to make some notes. We're sort of freeze framing. You guys are reaching the end of that Lexan hallway, and a referee is there to greet you and give you some final words before actually opening the dungeon for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to make notes. All right, good. I was worried about this, but in fact, it's going to be fine.
Should we take an early first break?
Now we've got about 22 minutes until first break time, but that's probably a pretty good call. Are you guys feeling ready for a break?
Sure.
All right.
And that'll give Ben a chance to do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah, that's what I was throwing out. That's why I was throwing it out there as a suggestion.
Exactly. It's a good idea. All right, then let's meet back in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Oop, sorry. Welcome back. We actually just called a 10-minute break to try and give you some time to. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Right, Ben, just a quick check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
I can hear
Just
you
turn
too.
my video back on. See if that. Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. My Wi-Fi dropped, and yeah, I had to wrestle my machine, reboot it, and stuff. Oh well. What did I miss? Did I miss?
I
Can you
paused
catch
the
me?
game and
Okay.
started our first break a little early.
Okay. I came in and I just heard some tiny bits of, and I saw you go off to break. So
Yeah. So I'm sorry about effectively taking your break from you, but
no worries, no problem.
looks like it helped you get the time you needed to get
Yeah.
this taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take at least one bite of this gigantic brownie.
Do it.
Oh.
Whereabouts are you in the world? Are you in?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Oh right, okay, right. I'm in the UK, so I'm a long way away.
Mm-hmm. But through the magic of the internet, we can play this game together.
It is like magic when it works.
When it works, it's nice.
I am returned, by the way, Jen.
Welcome back. All right, Ben, just to catch you up a little bit.
Yeah.
I paused the fiction
right
at the point where you reach the end of the Lexan hallway.
Okay.
And a referee is about to throw down the final rules and let you know that they want a clean dungeon.
Always.
Show the American Empire what true sportsmanship's all about.
You also went over sponsors and the tags for the crowd.
Ah, that's true. Thank you. Yes, our sponsors for the Detroit Motor City Crawl are Bellerophon Motors, Ajax Adhesive Co., and the Detroit Salt Company. And
the crowd tags were blue collar.
Yes, thank you.
And also druidic.
Sorry, what was the first one?
Blue collar, working class.
Blue collar. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep. So crowd tags are important when you're trying to connect with or sway the crowd.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't want to talk about the fact that champagne comes in different sized bottles with the blue collar crowd.
Right.
You don't want to talk about that time that you bought a forested patch of land and then felled all the trees with the druidic crowd.
No. Okay.
So that's going to be an interesting challenge. So are we all back and ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yes, I am going to stay off cam just because there's a lot of people pulling on a crappy pipe right now.
Got it. All right. So the referee gives you the spiel, he says the usual things. Don't go into no-go spaces. No hitting the referees. Don't throw the medics at the monsters. I want a good, clean dungeon out of you. And then DJ No comes up on speaker. You see her face on an arcane video screen, an AVS, as she says, "Welcome to my dungeon. I want to take y'all through a bit of history and a bit of what my lovely city has to offer. Good luck out there. Fight hard. Use your creativity. See what makes Detroit work. And of course, as always, if you die and the crowd calls back, you die all at once." In a thunderous roar, the referee opens the door for you and it's a nice big door, so you could actually go in 2 by 2 if you felt like it. You file in, and this sort of humid, cool feeling hits you immediately in an unexpected way. And when you get your bearings, you know, it's so bright in the auditorium, but it's rather dim in here. Not difficult to see, but your eyes take a moment to adjust. And you are in a simulated forested creek trail with, you know, soft soil beneath your feet, trees rising up around you, the sound of gentle flowing water. A lot like Michigan, in fact, before we logged the ever-living hell out of it. But it's quiet, peaceful, too peaceful. What do you do?
This doesn't look very dungeony.
No.
It's probably an illusion. Hey, Mayday. What do you see, man?
I will check it out with my arcane senses.
Nice.
If I have arcane senses, which I assume I do.
That's not a bad assumption. Let's take a peek at your character sheet. Well, you're a student of the Guild of Magi. And you're fine with practicals and bad at exams.
Oh, actually, I could also, what I will do is I will send Tipper, my ferret familiar, to sniff around on my behalf.
I love that you named your ferret familiar. That's rad. I'm putting that in there for you right now because I don't want to forget it.
Thank you.
Does Tipper have any gear? Did you give Tipper any special ferret equipment?
Oh, Tipper she definitely has some little ferret equipment. It's got a little, for no really good reason, it's got a little tiny backpack that that carries just like a couple small items that I might need to deliver at some point, and she's trained to
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, pull them out. So like little talismans or whatever.
I love it.
So I send Tipper scampering off into the apparent piece of the wooded forest to go what's the what. So I guess that's 2 tags that really apply here. Would be my student of the
Guild of Magi
Guild
and the ferret.
Tipper.
Yeah, no, I like that.
All right. So I am going to roll 2d6.
Cool beans. I realized that I did not figure out a rolling solution ahead of time, and Google Hangouts doesn't let you roll anymore. So
Rich did post a roll for your party page, and Ben may have lost it when he dropped out.
Yeah, I did lose that. Yeah, I've got the Google Drive stuff back, but not that.
All right.
There.
So
there. Rich just reposted it.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Wonderful. So I can't look at those. So please let me know honestly what your rolls are.
Right. Sorry, Jen.
That's okay.
I
don't have to
I am rolling 2d6. I will be orange for those of you following along in the home game. That is a 7 plus 2 is 9.
All right.
Can we help? Can we help the little ferret? Like spin the pool to boost that up after the roll? We can, right?
Yeah.
That would after the roll it requires 2, right?
Yep. Two teammates would have to agree to spend from the pool in order to.
Oh, yeah, I don't care that much.
Okay.
I just assume it's going to be monsters. So
Yeah. All right. So, Paul, do you have like a psychic connection with Tipper as a familiar? I assume that Tipper's much smarter than your average ferret.
Yes, of course. We have a psychic sort of link, but it's mostly impressions rather than. I can give some basic commands over the link,
Right.
but otherwise it's mostly impressions. I don't actually see what Tipper sees. I just get the general feel of what's around Tipper, I think.
Okay. So, Tipper scampers out through the underbrush, and you actually visually lose him fairly quickly. Her. You lose her very quickly because she's small and a ferret, and this is kind of her jam. And you hear little rustles here and there, presumably from her as she moves around. And you get the impression from her, she sends it back to you, that this space is real and physical, but also enclosed. It looks bigger than it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you get the impression of this really acrid, spicy scent from her, and this flash of distress, and then you feel the sense that she's running back to you right away. She's sort of aborting the mission halfway through to be back by your side.
She came across something that didn't make her happy or scared the crap out of her. Okay.
Yep. And
I relay this information to my party. Okay. There is something out there. This room is not as big as it seems, but these are real trees. So let's be careful.
What's blocking? What's preventing us seeing to the edge of the room? Is it the trees or darkness? If you see what I mean, because.
So I'm gonna spoiler you a little bit so that you don't rabbit hole on this issue. You can see past some of the trees. Probably if I gave you, an in-fiction half an hour's time to map the space out, you'd figure out that it's probably like a 50 by 30 room with a nice high ceiling. And these trees, which are set into the base of the arena, and what keeps you from seeing the edge of the room is that the walls of the room are actually very carefully matte painted.
Right. Okay.
So that's that actual situation, which your character may not be fully aware of yet, but I'm letting you know so that in fiction, when it feels appropriate, you can discover it if that becomes important. But let's see. How are you guys situated right now? Like, who has walked the farthest into the room? Leading question.
I'll say that I have, because I've been trying to peer through what I assumed was kind of gloom, and I think this is a job for me because I'm a dwarf. I've got that dark vision, or I'm not sure it's not called dark vision here, but
it's
the equivalent of that, yeah. So I've been sort of just crawling forward and trying to peer through this gloom. So yeah, I suppose I'm out ahead unless anyone's made any other moves forward.
All right, so I need somebody, probably Miss Sunburn, to make a check to spot danger in some way.
Okay, so this is my first roll with this system. Just talk me through this. Am I looking for tags that might help me?
Yes, you are. You're looking for tags that might help you. I'm looking for tags that might hurt you. Okay. To mention,
I don't see anything directly. I don't think I've got any tags that particularly help me with this.
I think you're trying to protect and heal your charges, so trying to figure out what's coming would help you
Okay.
protect
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Under the protect. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Okay.
I also feel like you might be trying to prove your value here by being the person who's gone furthest into the being unafraid of the unknown.
Yeah, actually, more so that, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
All right,
that sounds doable.
So I feel like you can make this roll with +1. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to roll on the roll for your party thing. It's 2d6, yeah?
Yep.
And Ben, there's a D6 and a D6P. The D6P just means you roll with pips in the dice. That's the only.
Oh, I see. So I can stick a number in there, do I?
Yep. You just stick a number to the left in the box there, and you click on the red submit button.
Got you. So I rolled a 1 and a 3, I think. Yes, I did. That's good, isn't it? Not. 4 in total. With the +1, 5.
Yep. So unfortunately, after the roll, you would not be able to give her enough teamwork points to bump her up to a soft success. So as you creep forward, you're thinking something's out here, something probably dangerous, and the rumors swirl in your head. Druids and danger. So you're thinking like, oh crap, am I going to have to wrestle a dryad, or is a giant owl bear going to burst out of the ground? Do we have to fight bugbears again?
Okay, yeah.
And as all of these different possibilities are in your mind, Tipper flies past you. She runs between your legs and makes this sort of pat chittering as she escapes. And you look down at your feet and you're like, not sure what you see. And then you spot like a little orange nugget, and you smell kind of a smoky, earthy scent. And you look up and you see these glowing things hanging in the trees about the size of a 2-liter bottle.
Glowing
like if you took an orange soda and put a red light at the end.
Okay.
Yep. And then they start to drop down from the trees one by one. And I need you to roll to defend yourself, because you are now in combat against a group of 5 fire beetles.
Right, okay. This is another roll with tags. The roll mechanic is the same, is it, for each? It's not like there aren't special moves that you roll with different things?
Nope. So this is a defense roll.
Okay.
So you will, as usual, decide what your aptitude is and then roll the dice. I'm going to say that because you are surprised, you're going to be rolling with a disadvantage. So you're going to be rolling 3d6 and taking the worst 2.
Okay.
I'll spend a teamwork point.
Cool, because this is not unknown to you guys. This is initiative for everybody right now. But Shalua is unfortunately caught in that first surprise round with 1 attack.
Righto, yeah. So I'm going to...
Do I describe how I'm helping, or is that not the point of the teamwork dice? Or
let me know. I'm curious.
So, like, as an elf, I'm kind of like linked to trees and stuff like that. And just before, like, a moment before the dwarf notices the beetles, I notice them as well, and I'm like, look out. So
nice. Cool. So that's an additional +1 for your roll.
Okay.
We haven't determined your aptitude yet. Does anybody else want to try and pitch in for her defense? Gonna hold on to it? Ajax.
Yeah,
How would
definitely
you
want
like to help?
defend. I think whipping the flail around, maybe she's short, right? So whip the flail over her head while they come in. He'll run up to try to do that and provide some umbrella-like cover, maybe.
Okay, cool. So you're trying to sort of knock them out of the way before they land on her. That's good. Cool. So let's see.
Looking at my tags, it feels a bit. I don't feel right invoking them again on protecting. I feel I'm trying to protect myself now.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like you're maybe trying to represent the gods inside the games. You know, like your faith is your shield.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm all right to roll with no aptitude here. I think this has caught me off guard. I think that feels right.
All right.
I'm relying on my group to step in and help me out.
Keeping in mind, though, that you're already rolling with disadvantage as a result of that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, isn't it?
It's going to be tough. All right. So you're just rolling with +2 from your team.
Okay.
And remember, 3d6 lowest 2.
Let's do that. So the lowest 2, a 2 and a 3. So that's 5.
For a total of 7.
That was 7.
So that means that you are going to suffer the lowest d6 in damage.
Okay. So that is a 2.
All right. Let me see if they have any. All right. They have a +1 damage modifier.
Okay.
And yeah.
So we're on a 3. Yeah. And I have leather armor for 1. And that's just a straight subtraction, is it? So that's back down to a 2.
Yeah. I think they're trying to bite you. They're not spitting acid on you yet. So
okay.
That's going to be flat there.
Okay, and I have a shield as well.
Yes. Are you bearing your shield yet? This is an important question, because if you are bearing your shield, you have that full armor of 2. But if you don't have your shield in hand yet, you'll have an armor of just 1. However, you'll be 1 point faster. Which might matter.
I think I probably would have been bearing my shield at this point, just because it's the first room we've gone into, and I think I'd be on the defense. So yeah, I'm going to be holding my shield and moving more slowly.
All right. So with that 3 HP hit, 2 armor subtracts 2 from that damage, so you're going to take 1 hit point of damage.
Okay. I'll note that on the keeper. Yeah. Okay.
Please do. All right, so now that we're in initiative, let's see. Who's our fastest player? Ajax and Mayday are tied at -1. And all of the giant beetles are also -1. So let's see, describe. Who between Ajax and Mayday wants to go first?
I
Paul,
think Ajax is farther forward.
Yeah, because I'm in it and you're back, so let me go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So the flail is already whistling, and his plan is to he's going to make his call. It's like calling one of the fire beetles, pointing towards it, and he goes whistling towards it. He is a born warrior. He's here to be an X-Crawl contender.
All right. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to take both those tags, if that's okay.
Please.
And I don't think we're anywhere near needing to cut losses, so I don't know if there are any negatives you want to give me, but
nah.
I think I'm doing all right. The kids are all right. So it's a +2 here to my 2d6. I rolled a 4. Okay, I'm going to throw away this roll. That's the thing. When you play physically, you can throw dice across the room. But when roll for your party screws you, what do? Throw your doesn't do the same. It makes me sad. I've failed with a 6, but I'll eat the failure. That's fine. Please don't save me. We need the teamwork pool for other rooms.
Okay. So, goodness. What do I do with that failure? Mhm. One of them actually lands from the trees inside your gear pack.
Oh crap!
It's like it's a miracle shot. It really is. Like you spend a year trying to get it to fall as perfectly into your backpack again on purpose as it has right now. So that's where you're doing, Ajax. So Mayday.
You called these fire beetles. Is there fire involved?
Yeah, no, they fire beetles ingest a diet that allows them to produce essentially a weaker version of, say, thermite inside of their bits. They are known for spraying it out.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, what I would like to do is, as Tipper kind of scampers up my leg and into the little pouch at my side, I'm going to, because my signature move seems like ill-advised in this particular circumstance, especially when there are druids in the audience and we're in the middle of a artificial forest or a forest.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to get close enough to actually draw all of the heat out of the beetle that just landed in Ajax's backpack.
All right.
Thereby going to, kill it.
All right, great.
So that is my technique.
I like it.
Does that count as a tag? Or is that just a thing that's just permission?
The adept techniques are permission. So you have permission to use this to do different things. And I think that shutting down a fire beetle so hard that it dies and, turns into a nugget of ice is a-okay.
Okay.
Certainly thoroughly magical. So
I'm going to say student of the guild.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to say that this is really the path of least resistance because I'm not actually directly engaging anything. I don't even have to see it because it's in the backpack. Is that fair, or does that sound like I'm reaching?
I'll allow it.
Okay. I will stick with 2.
Okay.
Re-rolling my orange dices.
Get it.
And that's a 12.
Nice.
And that's an attack. So my lowest d6 that would be an attack roll, yes?
Yes, that is an attack roll.
So my lowest d6 is a 4.
Cool. So you're gonna.
I don't think I have any modifiers on that. So.
Okay. Let's see if you have any magical equipment. Kind of don't yet.
Oh, wait, that is kind of creative or innovative, isn't it?
For sure.
Then I get a crit on a 12 plus instead of on a 13 plus.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So you deal 8 damage to it. I am going to rule that it dies there in his backpack. So there is that taken care of.
Ew, but yay.
But it's frozen, so it's okay. It's not like yucky.
Yeah, it's not gooey dead.
Okay, I'll let it go.
It'll take a couple of weeks for it to get there, and I'm sure you'll take it out of there by then. I hope. Also, point of order for anyone worried about killing these things. Giant fire beetles are seen as unnatural by druids and are a-okay. So same with most dire versions of creatures.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they wreak havoc on the ecosystems that they are a part of. Now, unfortunately, the next person to go is Zaster, but he'll go after the fire beetles. So the fire beetles are going to attack everyone that they can. And I think there are 4 of them, 4 of you. Everybody roll me another defense roll. One of the fire beetles does, in fact, use its spray attack. So sprays a cone of fire, hitting, I'm going to say, Ajax and Mayday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get fired up, Ajax.
Yeah.
This is hilarious, by the way. I just realized that the wizard has more HP than the fighter.
It's funny. It's 100% because at first level humans get a +2 hit point bump, and holy crap, that matters at first level.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna make I don't think any of my tags apply here, so I'm rolling flat.
Okay.
A dumb question. Is XP on a fail?
So let's see here. In the custom moves, you gain XP when you kill a star monster, make a meaningful discovery, win a dungeon, approach your goal or cause, acquire meaningful loot, or share a meaningful social scene. So, in fact,
that would be a no. That's appropriate. I love it.
Harsh but fair.
Cool. I rolled a 6- on my defense roll, and I make sure I understand this. So, defense roll 6- suffer highest d6 plus enemy modifier. So the highest d6 of the 2 dice I just rolled, or do I roll a new d6?
The dice you just rolled. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. I rolled a 2 and a 1, so I don't think I took much damage.
All right. So you take a 3. It will ignore the first point of armor.
Okay, so I've never understood that. I know that was a dungeon world thing. I have 2 armor. Does that mean I take 2 hit points of damage?
Yes, your 2 armor counts as 1 armor because of that armor piercing rating.
Okay.
I find it easiest to subtract the armor piercing amount from the armor first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that helps. Ignores armor. I'll just say that. Okay, thank you. You've unlocked a bit of dungeon world for me now.
Great.
And Jen, I rolled an 8, and my
Wonderful.
lowest die was 3, and I have no armor. So
All right, you take.
I guess I'm taking
damage.
3.
All right. So that is what you 2 had to deal with. Shalua, Zaster, you each have to defend against what is effectively a dagger, as it drops down and tries to bite you again.
Okay, I rolled a 9.
Nice.
Which means, let me check. Defense roll a 9, so for the lowest d6, don't I? Oh dear, that's a 4. But I have 2 points of armor.
Yep.
That's 2 hit. 2. Is that right?
That's right, and they both apply.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 2 damage. So I'm down to 5 hit points. I'm all right. Just.
All right. Zaster, how did you do?
I was still trying to figure out the tags and all that, but I don't know that I have any right now, other than being overconfident.
That's more of a weakness that's going to cause you problems, but I think that being the Specialist Guild's favorite might help. Like, when you're the Specialist Guild's favorite, it means that like they're going to favor you, but also you have the qualities that they like the most in a young specialist. So this is a good time to highlight how that means that you have the agility, for instance, and the reflexes to get out of the way.
Okay. So how many dice do I roll?
You're going to roll 2d6.
2d6. Okay. That's a 13.
Mm-hmm.
All right, swoosh. You do real good.
I think we also get a teamwork point.
You do. That's real cool. I was in fact casting about for extra bennies to give you in that moment. So yeah, you did real good. It's inspiring to watch. The crowd is warming up with excitement. And it is now your turn, Zaster.
Okay. So I just did a backflip to get out of the way of the beetle that was jumping out of the tree.
Nice.
And it lands in the ground, and it's digging its way back up, getting its face back up so its claws and pincers can do its thing. And I turn to the crowd and I'm like, when your forest is burdened by beetles, use wall of ice. And I'm just going to cast an ice spell and see if I can't line them up with this anti-flame bit and see if I can't get rid of any sort of flame tags they might have. Also just calling to the crowd because I love wrestling. So
nice.
I don't know what to do now.
Well, I think that you should roll the attack.
Okay.
I think that what you just did is certainly like spotlight stealing.
Yes.
And if you have any other tags that you think would make your aptitude here, then let me know.
Okay. So stealing the spotlight is a tag. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I think that's it.
All right. So
is it? I'm looking at the cheat sheet. I'm just confused as to when that's 2d6 versus 3d6. Oh, like the advantage or disadvantage.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So 2d6 plus 1. I will re-roll my 2 purple dice. And that's a 10. 4 plus 5 plus 1.
All right. So let's see. You attempted an ice spell.
Yes.
Let's see. Do we have any? That's basically a transfer heat. You're trying to sort of deactivate their fire tags.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. All right. So let's see. It's an ice spell. It's a cone. They're kind of concentrated. You succeeded with a 10. I'm gonna say that that for the next 2 rounds, they're not going to be able to use their spit acid ability. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So there is that, and now, finally, our poor beleaguered dwarf gets to go.
How many of them are there? How many can I see?
You can see 4 of them.
4. I will. I think I'm just going to move to the nearest one. No, in fact, no. I'm going to drop my shield, pull out my crossbow.
All right.
And assuming I can do all this in sort of 1 turn, I will. Well, that's the next thing I'm going to do is try and pin one to a tree with a crossbow bolt.
I like it.
Is that an okay thing to do in 1 go, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm right, that's just an attack roll. And I'm going to say that I'm definitely trying to protect my colleagues here.
Sure.
And also prove value with glory. They feel like too that I'll be hammering quite hard on these things. Is that okay? What do they feel? I don't want to overuse those two because it feels like for a lot of things we could say they were both in.
You're also doing some archery right here.
Yeah, I am doing archery. Yeah,
the golden archer.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I like that one better.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do I get? Do I get a plus? Is it +1 per tag?
Yep. +1 for every positive tag that could affect you, and -1 for every negative tag that could affect you.
Yeah. So I don't think the negative ones directly apply.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I'm going to say a +2, 1 for the golden archer background, and 1 for the protecting my friends.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, here's 2 dice. What did I get? I like blue. Oh, it's getting confusing. There are too many dice on the roll for your party. I can't tell which 2 actually came up. I'm just gonna. Would anyone mind if I just cleared the dice? Yeah, someone's done it. Brilliant. 2 dice. Right. Let's try again. Okay, that's a 7 plus the 2 is a 9. So I'm going to suffer the lowest d6 of damage. Is that right? Or is that when I'm defending? That's when I'm defending, isn't it? Sorry, yes.
Defending.
Getting ahead of myself. So I deal the lowest plus mods. I deal the 3, and the modifiers. What are the modifiers? Are the modifiers like any damage bonus I get for a weapon? Don't get any mods for the weapon, so I think it's just that. Is it just the 3? I think.
No, your weapon will tell you if it has.
Yeah, there's nothing on there yet.
Specific things. So yep, 3 damage.
3 damage. Yeah.
All right.
That's a crossbow. Yeah.
So that crossbow bolt punches through one beetle's hard carapace. Normally, some of the hot goo that they are filled with would ooze out, but he's been cooled down, so it doesn't. In fact, all of them are glowing a much duller color. It's a very low-key red right now, going to black.
Good work.
Yep. And in fact, you can hear on an AVS somewhere above you, DJ No commenting that these beetles have to cool off.
Classic.
Very good. So, back up to the top of the round, Ajax.
Sorry, I had to compliment the use of violence puns, which was on my want list, so thank you. So we've got the one with the pack. He's already slung the pack. He was in the motion of doing that. He slung it back off of his back, and now he's going to rush forward, flail in hand over, two-handing the flail, taking over his head, and try to kind of swat at one of the darkened beetles. Mash it.
Get it.
You gonna get it. I think that sorry, I'm leaning on Born Warrior again, and I think this kind of stuff is what makes you a legendary adventurer. Does that seem fair?
I think so. Throwing yourself into danger.
Danger, high voltage. Okay.
High voltage, I like it.
Cool. I've rolled, yay, I rolled well for once. I rolled an 8 plus 2, a 10.
Nice.
And so with the attack roll, I deal the lowest d6 plus 7 to 12 is the lowest d6 plus modifiers. My lowest d6 is a 3, and I have a flail, so I don't think that does extra. I don't know if any other modifiers. Oh, an enemy successfully damaged me, so I get to deal an additional +2 damage until the end of this fight. So that's +2.
Yep.
And that's it. So I guess, yeah.
So, all right, this beetle will take
5.
5. Are you attacking the beetle that Shalua just attacked, or are you attacking a different beetle?
I'm an opportunist, and I would like a kill. So yeah, I think I snaked your kill there, Shalua. At least I'm trying to.
All right, Chapow. It is splattered.
Sweet.
All right. So, Mayday.
Why, yes.
What are you doing?
I would like very much to. Actually, I'm gonna, save up my juju and just pull out the bow and shoot an arrow at one of these things. Again, I think I'm rolling flat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have anything aside from taking the path of least resistance, but that seems stupid. And I used it last time, so I don't want to be boring. So I will just shoot an MFing beetle.
All right, get
Rolling flat. I'm going to continue to be orange. That's a 10.
Nice.
So, and my lower die is that's the lower die, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 4.
Nice.
4 damage. And the bow doesn't have any modifiers because it's not magic yet.
Right. And you don't have any technique or lineage-based bonus, so 4 damage, you said?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So there are only 3 beetles left.
Oh man, did I just kill Ringo? Or did we just kill Ringo?
Huh?
Sorry, beetles. There were 4 beetles. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I didn't see that coming. That's what tickled me so much.
Oh, it's bad. Okay. All right, let's see. Still positioned close. They've fallen out from the trees, so I think it's just a matter of them trying to get some damage spread around. All right, so they're going to try and bite Shalea and Zaster and Ajax.
Okay, should we go ahead and make our defense rolls?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I got a 9.
All right, good time.
Which means, let me just check and get used to this in a minute. I suffer the lower of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a 3. Less than the 2 armor if they both apply. Is this still like the same sort of attack, isn't it?
They can't use their armor piercing attack. Right
Oh,
now.
okay.
So, in fact, your armor totally fully applies.
Cool. Okay.
So I just rolled snake eyes on my defense roll, which is a fail.
Yeah.
However, it's not a bad fail because I suffer the highest d6 plus enemy modifier. Without the armor piercing, does that mean they do 3, but I take 1 because it doesn't bite through my armor?
So I think that you're going to take 1 damage regardless.
Okay.
And you're going to have to tell me something that you lose track of as they actually manage to trip you in the fight.
Oh, I think my javelins, right? My only ranged weapon. I get tripped up over them because I drop my pack, and that helps me keep them up on my little shoulder holster thingy.
All right. So you're tripped. You roll away, you're basically back on your feet. You're not going to have to waste an action standing back up. But when you pop back up on your hands and knees, you're not sure where your javelins are.
Okay.
All right. Zaster, how did your defense go?
Let's see. I have a 9, unless I have a tag to make it better. No, I don't see anything. So I got a 9.
Okay, cool. So
lowest
you
die is a 3.
All right.
I have an armor of 1.
All right.
2 points of damage.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Done.
So you'll take that, and with that bit of monster activity over, it is Miss Steelwagon's turn.
Okay. It is? I don't get to go?
Oh, yes, you do get to go. I just think that you're faster because you're a thief, but you're not because you're holding 2 things effectively. So please go. I'm sorry.
No problem. So I pull my short sword out of its scabbard, and I'm using magic to make the logo glow on it so that everyone knows to use ELF brand weapons. And I flip it around with some dramaticness, and I'm going to stab it down into the beetle in front of me, the one that just hurt me. And let's see here. I mean, I'm trying to become a superstar, so I'm just trying to, and I'm trying to steal the spotlight. So one or the other probably ought to apply, in my opinion. What do you think?
So I think that you can take both, but whatever the result of your roll, if you take both, you need to make a grandstanding check.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is, but that sounds awesome. So
all right.
Let me roll to attack.
Do it.
And that's a 12.
Very good.
6 and 4 and 2.
All right. So let's see. Not high enough to give you double damage, but you get to deal the lowest d6 that you rolled plus any modifiers.
So 4.
All right. So which beetle were you targeting?
The one that attacked me. I don't think anybody's hit it yet.
Okay, cool. So that's where it stands. Now you get to make a grandstanding roll.
Okay.
So in the custom moves tab, it's going to be right in the upper left-hand corner. Describe how you do it, determine your aptitude, and roll. So your fame tag must apply. And yep.
Okay.
That's known for ELF brand tech and weapons. So you've already sort of looped that into this activity.
Yeah.
By making their logo flash bright in the stands. So your approach, your foreground or your background needs to apply. When you're grandstanding, you're performing for the crowd. And what they want to see from the crowd is who they already know you to be. You know, it's how Dennis Rodman can dye his hair any color and pierce his face in any way he likes, and nobody really minds. But if Tiger Woods were to roll up with face tattoos, nobody would speak to him for weeks. There's an expectation required. So which of the foreground, background, or approach would you like? To bring into the role here.
Okay. Well, it's definitely not approach because there's nothing profitable about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that the Specialist Guild has taught me how to stab in between the chinks in someone's armor, the gaps. So I'm going to go with the Specialist Guild's favorite.
Okay. Is there any other tag that you might want to draw in?
No.
Okay, cool. So I think that both of these tags are a positive for you. This is a relatively well-timed point for a grandstand. You just hurt an enemy. You've been doing pretty well for yourself this combat, but it's not over yet. So you're rolling 2d6 as normal.
Okay. So given how well I've rolled so far, it's well, I was going to re-roll some dice, but it won't let me click on them, so I will try again here.
Okay.
I was going to say given the luck I've had so far, it's time for me to fail a roll. Let's see what happens. No, I got a 12. A little embarrassed by all this. I'm sure Rich hates me.
Now we're going to call Zaster Dr. Rolls Good.
Yeah.
Ow.
So you sway the crowd. They love it.
Cool.
You flourish your ELF weapon, and you draw blood. You flourish it again, glowing a little redder. And yeah, you can definitely hear cheers. It's always a factor in an X-Crawl game because you're playing before a live audience. Even if there are walls and screens between you, that sound is always so immediate.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's how that goes. Now, Miss Steelwagon gets to do her thing. As your team is pulling together. You're muted, Ben.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'll step up behind Mayday, put a hand on one of his shoulders, and call upon the powers of my god, and use my devoted technique to heal him.
Nice.
It says heal +1 hit point. Does that mean, is that plus onto something else, or does he just get 1 hit point?
All right. So in the cheat sheet,
Yeah.
at the very bottom right, there's healing.
Yeah.
So while healing says you may receive 1 non-magical healing between rests,
Yeah.
This is also the same mechanic that you use for magical healing.
Okay.
It's just that non-magical healing is a little bit limited between rests.
Right.
So you're trying to heal somebody else.
Yeah.
And you're trying to roll over a 7.
Okay. And do I get to use the tags?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm healing my charges definitely here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my general approach. I haven't prayed before or after battle, actually. Never mind. I don't think this is I wouldn't call this glory seeking. This is me just looking after people behind the scenes almost, as they do the glory bit. But I'm representing the gods inside the games, I would say, because it's the first time I've called upon my god, obviously, in this game.
All right, that sounds good.
So a +2. Let's see. Let me roll. Okay, that's a 5. With 2 is a 7.
Great.
Okay. So, and what's the highest die? The highest die was a 4 there. And I get a +1. Is it +1 on the roll or +1 on the amount that I heal?
+1 on the amount that you heal.
Okay, so that's a 5. 5 hit points back, which puts you back up to maximum. I think,
Yes,
Mayday?
sir.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
No problem. I always have your back.
All right. So since you haven't prayed before this fight, I'm going to give you a bit of a devil's bargain, since you squeaked into success with this calling upon the gods specifically.
Okay.
So you may either take a -1 to your next roll in this combat, or you may sacrifice your next action in this combat with prayer.
How many beetles are left now?
There are 3 beetles. 2 of them are quite harmed.
Okay. So it feels like we've got the upper hand. I think I'll take the -1.
Okay.
And I'll pray after the battle.
All right. The gods take their toll, and you've set an expectation.
Cool.
All right. So back up to the top of the round. After this round, the beetles will be able to use their acid spray attack again. Ajax, what do you do?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of some way to work in, because somebody just showed me how it's done, and it wasn't me showing. So I am, man, my ankle breaker isn't nearly as exciting as I want it to be. I should have made a better signature move to attack multiple enemies, because that's not going to pay off super well for me right now.
I mean, it's not a bad move to try and hit the undamaged beetle with.
Yeah, I think I might as well. So activating the Ajaxian ankle breaker as he moves sideways to gauge his enemy. Ajax comes with a huge overhand sweep of the flail towards the uninjured beetle's legs, trying to paralyze that sucker.
Nice.
I think he's putting his nickname on things with the Ajaxian ankle breaker here. And he's here to be an X-Crawl contender. That's why he's using his signature move. I'm going to say he's relying on his Born Warrior skills. I'm going for 3. I'm lobbying for 3 tags here. What do you think?
I'll allow it, but whatever the results of this roll, you're going to have to make a grandstanding check afterwards.
Okay, I can live with that. Here we go. I rolled a wonderful 4 with my +3 tags. That gets me to a 7. So I'll deal the lowest D6, which is a 2 because I rolled 2 2s, plus modifiers. I have taken damage this round, so that'll be a +2 to that. So 4 damage, and I have given the paralysis tag to that uninjured beetle. And I need to make a grandstanding tag.
Also, because you were activating your signature move, you were technically rolling the custom move for that as well. So it sounds like on that 7-9 result, you chose one of your signature move options happens.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get a +1 to your grandstanding roll, and somebody is left exposed by your theatrics.
Oh my.
Who is it and how?
I'm sorry, but it's got to be Forrester, right? Because he just pulled, like, there's a little competition, intra-team competition going on here.
All right, cool. So you sweep that beetle's legs out from under it, and it flips over onto its back, and it lands quite. No, it's not going to land close to Forrester because it's paralyzed right now, and that's not an advantage for the monsters. That's an advantage for Zaster. So I think what happens is it's actually dead. It is spocked. But Zaster, I'm going to need you to roll some kind of a defensive roll, because all of the goo that is inside of that beetle has sprayed in your direction.
Okay. Wow. So that's icky. Let's see. On the wrong tag here. Or tab here. Let's see here. Hmm. I think I'm still like glowing in my grandstanding and being overconfident. So I think that's like a -1.
All right.
Okay, so 2d6 -1 then?
Yep.
Okay. Actually, no, let's do green dice and reroll selected. That is a 7 -1 is a 6.
All right. Please choose a piece of equipment that is occupying its own line, aka don't choose the chewing gum, lighter, radio, or hand mirror, please.
Right.
Also, don't choose the water bottle.
Oh, okay.
Unless you've got like specific serious plans for that water bottle.
And so I'll be losing something?
Yes, you will lose that piece of equipment until you get a chance to replace it in a break room.
Right. So Rich, when you did this thing to the beetle, like you kind of swept it up, right? And
Yeah.
it flipped over and then all this stuff just flew out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it hits my armor then.
Oh, that totally like it sprays. Psst.
Yeah. So my leather armor.
Is your leather armor elf brand?
Yeah, well almost everything is, and that's why it costs so much. Remember I spent all that money. So
Sad. Hopefully they don't get any footage of the ELF logo sizzling into illegibility.
yeah.
That would be bad. All right, so Ajax.
Yeah, I need
that,
to do the
I need you to make
grandstanding, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so describe how I do it. I think sorry, we'll talk later, but you did call me an assistant. So he turns to the crowd. The nose is watching on the AVS and holds his hand wide. Are you not entertained? Ajax has brought you entertainment. And so, yeah, that's how I do it. That's my grandstanding.
Nice. Okay, cool. So
determine my aptitude and role.
Yeah.
One of my fame tags and either your foreground, approach, or background must apply. I think that the fame of calling a shot, because it was the signature weapon, applies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's here to be a contender, X-Crawl contender for the foreground.
Cool.
So those two feel right to me.
Good. Is there anything else that you think really... I'm not sure any other tag particularly applies. However, you just dunked on your teammate, so I'm going to have you roll this at a disadvantage.
Oh, nice.
So 3d6 plus 2, please choose the lowest 2 dice results.
Okay, dang it, that's what I get for pursuing a
How do I
glory at the
PayPal you
cost.
again, Jen?
Well, that's okay. I rolled gangbusters. I rolled a 4, 5, and 6, so I'll choose the 4 and 5, the 2 lowest, and that still gives me an 11.
Very nice. You're going to sway the crowd. They have been brought entertainment.
That's it. Just sway.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's a little boring when you get a 10 plus.
It
It's
is.
it's a little more exciting when you get a 13 plus or a 7 to 9. I'm going to have to maybe break into that, but
Maybe you just maybe don't make me wait like so long when I'm lobbying for 3 tags. Darn it! I got all nervous. I'm like, should I actually ask for this tag? It's awesome. Okay, cool. So they're somewhat entertained.
great. All right, Mayday.
Yes, I would like to, since Forrester is in a little bit of trouble, having just lost armor, and there's still a living critter attacking, I would, particularly attacking Forrester,
Sure.
or in front of him. I would like to address that one. And so I'm going to, this time, as I shoot off my arrow, I'm going to remove the heat from the area around it so that by the time it pierces, it will be coated in ice.
Okay, nice. You certainly got permission to do that.
And what I would like to do then is call out my student of the Guild of Magi.
Yeah.
And this is, and I think I'm actually going to fine with practicals, because this is not an exam. This is not theoretical. This is me actually doing the job.
This is real
And
life.
if that's cool,
like
cool
it.
with you. All right. So I'm rolling +2. And I am orange. And that's a 9. So in the sadly, the lowest die is a 1.
Weak. But progress.
But progress. Unless you want to give me a modifier for the whole ice thing.
So I'm not going to give you a modifier for the ice thing, but I am going to say that its acid spit is fully deactivated for the rest of the fight.
Alrighty. I like it.
Cool. All right, so let's see. It is the beetle's turn to go. They are, well, one of them's got to try and hit Forrester. That's just a given. I'm sorry, Forrester. And then the other one. Other one is going for Ajax. So, Forrester, let's get your defense roll out of the way. And then Ajax's defense roll.
Okie dokie.
Nice.
So, let's see here. I don't think I have anything that applies. So that's a straight 2d6, and I've got an 11. 6 and a 5.
Bloop. So yeah, you dodge out of the way. So the arcane video screen above the arena that you guys can't actually see, thankfully, plays this canned fleeing rogue animation that they have specifically for situations like this. And it plays, and the little cartoon rogue runs away. And then after you make your clean dodge, it's like, safe. Big comic book biff pow burst of a word.
Love it. Absolutely
Right.
love it.
Ajax.
How many beetles do we have left here?
2. Both of them are injured.
Sweet. Are they close to each other? Is it possible that I could make some kind of area attack? Maybe take down 2 of them at once with some kind of increased danger to me?
This is actually a call for you to make a defense roll, but then it will be your turn.
Oh, fine. I'll roll a defense roll then. Sorry.
That's
All right,
okay.
cool. I think Born Warrior always comes in handy when you're trying to defend yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I don't think there's anything else, so I'll just roll that.
Okay.
That is a 9. So on a 7 and 9, the lowest of the 2.
Yep.
Which is 3 damage plus any monster. Or no, is there? Yeah, plus it doesn't say plus enemy modifier. So is it just the 3 then? So
yeah,
in defense
it's just
roll,
the
okay.
3. Yeah.
It's just the 3. And is this still the last round? So there's no AP armor piercing to it?
There's no armor piercing to it yet. No.
Good, because I'm hurting. Okay, I'm at 5.
Yep. All right, cool. So now I rolled for it. They are actually close enough together that you could conceivably get them both in a sweep.
But is
And
it?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it should be Forrester's turn.
Oh,
The
thank you.
Beatles acted after Ajax and I.
Thank you so much. I tried to arrange this so that I didn't screw it up, but clearly I did it wrong in the beginning. I'll try to do it better in the next combat. Forrester, what you doing?
Forrester's such a good thief that you don't notice when he should be going.
Right? I ran away from all of it.
Yeah, it's extremely high stealth. So stealth that that it's non-diegetic.
Let's see here. I need to distract everyone from the loss of armor. So I sheathe my short sword and I pull out my bow. Boom! And I take like 2 arrows, and I'm gonna try to hit the 2 that are grouped together,
All right.
and steal the glory from Ajax. So let's see here.
Because you can tell, you can see in his eyes, in like the way he's holding his weapon, he's got plans for those beetles.
Yeah. So I'm gonna snipe those kills.
Okay.
And
so it says it's an aerial multi-shot. Do you do like a little bouncing off the trees, jumping kind of thing to get some air?
Oh, so I can do my signature move, can't I? So,
no, I think you can.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to. I want to hear you sort of roll with some more description. That's all.
Okay. So I run back into the fray and I wall run up Ajax. And then while I'm at the apex of my jump, then I unleash the arrows right across his shoulders, as he faces off against the beetles.
Nice.
So 2 arrows go flying past his head. And if I roll poorly, maybe they'll hit him in the head. And let's see here.
There's only so much I'm willing to punish other people for other people's rolls.
Okay. So I've switched my bow and I do the running jump and I fire, and let's see here. I deal +1 damage with bows, and I am stealing the spotlight yet again. And I'm trying to become a superstar.
Yeah.
So
good.
I'm gonna roll 2d6 + 2 for this.
Okay.
And that's a 12. I don't know what's up with the roll for your party. We should probably throw it across the table.
All right. So I'm gonna once again combine this roll as an attack and a roll of your signature move.
Okay.
So on a 10 to 12, you get to choose 2. You get to choose Either one of your signature move options happens, nobody on your team is left exposed by your theatrics, or take +1 grandstanding until you leave this room.
Oh, I see them now.
Yeah.
Nobody on the team, including myself, is left exposed.
Cool.
And if they survive this, then they will be reduced in speed.
Very cool. So, goodness, what was the lowest roll in your lowest die in the attack?
They were both a 5.
Whew. Well, they are both cure-deaded.
Okay, that's really slow.
Yep,
So.
they will never move again. It's the best of all worlds.
The best kind of slow for an invasive species.
Yep, exactly. In fact, once again, where you can't see it on the AVS, there's a brief advertisement soliciting donations for the Druidic Hunters Guild, or some kind of Druid nature society thing. Support the nature that's actually natural.
I think they're gonna organize a tree planting somewhere, so that pops up with like, email us at blah blah blah. Oh, yeah. It's the 80s. Never mind. Yeah. Anyway, I'll shut up.
Call now to make your pledge. Every dollar plants 2 seedlings.
Meet the tree ants, kids.
Kids love it. Yeah, absolutely. So the simulated forest finally goes quiet. Throbbing pain of the various wounds comes more to the fores. Adrenaline dies down. You realize that you have yet to find the door in this room. With a little bit of casting about and searching, you find a particularly conspicuous looking pile of leaves in varying fall colors, golden, orange, red, and move them aside. And there's this sort of odd rosin plug around a tunnel entrance. And with a little bit more, frustration, arguing, searching, hitting it with an axe or what have you, you figure out that the easiest way to get through that plug is actually to crack open some dead beetles for their horrible fire goo and burn the rosin away. So
two questions.
Yes.
Did we just clear this room?
You just cleared this room. Thank you.
Awesome. So our teamwork will go up by 1?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second question, since we've taken a break, will Ajax be able to retrieve his javelins, or were they broken and lost?
So you need to make a check with basically no stakes.
Okay.
To find your javelins.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if any of my very high-minded tags work on the just finding your thing, so I'll just roll flat then. I got an 8.
All right, you find your javelins.
Yay.
So did somebody else already add to the teamwork pool, or should I
did.
get a bump? Okay,
Sorry, I
that
did.
That is okay. I saw that somebody else was in there and wanted to make sure before I gave you a double bump. All right. So with the tunnel to the next room open, you've gotten a taste of what this dungeon has in store for you. What do you guys do next?
Ajax, you need healing.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm thirsty too. I look over at Forrester and I take a drink from a water bottle.
So yeah, while you're doing that, I'm going to be rolling my devoted technique. So looking at my tags, protecting and healing my chargers. I will tell you what I'm going to do before I do that. I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray after the battle. That
Smart
makes
move.
good sense. Let's do that. Negate that -1, and just make sure that I can can I call on that? So I can call on that and the heal your charges and get a +2 on the invigorate. I'm happy for that. For us to say that's taking a bit of time though. The praying might take a bit of time, during which other people might do something.
Yeah, you're not.
Rest.
Yeah, because you're praying and Ajax is looking for his javelins, really figuring out how to get into the next room was all Mayday and Forrester.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Just to be aware of that. By the way, what was the content of your prayer? I don't need like a word for word, but just a general feeling of what you prayed about.
It was a prayer asking for forgiveness for the meal we made out of the very first room. We made a right meal out of it. Just a few beetles. We're expecting bigger things. We can do bigger things, and so that was my kind of pledge that with the next room, we're going to show our real metal there.
All right, excellent.
And so Ajax, if you're picking up your javelins, Shali is basically following you around, trying to lay hands on you, but every time you try to do that, you move and there it is, and you spot another one. So eventually I get my hands on you. Here's my roll. I can. That is a 7 plus the 2 is 9.
Great.
So the highest of those two, that was a 6 plus the 1 for my technique. That's 7 hit points.
Oh wow! So I'm back to max. Thank you. That was wonderful. I turn around and say, "Good job, Sunburn." And I start to pat your head, and then I move it to your shoulder. Pat your shoulder.
Nice. And I'll do a little, sort of like this to the camera. Yeah.
Apollo is awesome.
Yeah.
Can I do a confession?
That's what I've been telling you.
All right, so we smash cut to the green room after the first level of this dungeon crawl. You know, it's soft light behind Forrester. Forrester, what do you say in your confessional?
You know, when it comes down to it, it's not the wicked stabs and the aerial acrobatics or the arrows delivered perfectly. When it comes down to it, we have to have that support, that healing. We couldn't have done it without Apollo's acolyte. She's just a great assistant. Really.
Man, I was going to say this was kind of out of character until you said assistant, man. Also, I feel like that's the camera A, camera B cut right there too.
Yeah.
All right. See, when you give a confessional to the camera, spill your guts out, roll your aptitude, and see what happens.
I was just doing it for the fun of it. So let's see here. Thingy. Well, I was just trying to become a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about myself mostly. So that's 1. I'll roll 2d6 plus 1.
Okay.
That would be an 8.
All right, cool. So you get to choose one from the following list. You can restore 4 hit points, you can add 1 to the teamwork pool, or you can sway the crowd.
Ooh.
Would be ironic if that added to the teamwork pool, but
It would.
but she hasn't heard it. But she hasn't heard it yet.
I'll give back 2 hit points to Sunburn.
All right, cool. That sounds legit. Restore 4 HP is supposed to go to you, but if you want to give that to Sunburn, that is a-okay.
Oh, I was reading bonding moment. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give
Cool.
the 4 hit points to her.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Very cool. All right. So snap back to the action. You guys actually managed to get the tunnel to the next room unsealed. Terribly, especially for Forrester's rogue sensibilities. It's a smooth chute. Like it's a slide. Who the hell makes these?
Dwarves.
Detroit makes these.
Detroit dwarves. Yeah. Well, I don't mind scuttling down there. I'm a dwarf. That's the sort of I grew up in places like that. Didn't see the daylight for 20 years. Yeah, I'll go first. I don't mind. Have we got any plan, or do we want to just go for it? And tie a rope round me, haul me back out if it all goes pear-shaped.
I like pears.
Okay, I'm up for that.
All right, so you tie a rope around her. She slides down the chute. Yeah, we're basically running out on time. If we want to do this as a 3-hour, we started about at 2. Do we want to go for another half hour and then close it up, or do we want to? Okay, cool. So you feed out about 15 feet of rope by your reckoning. And Jalea, you see, as you arrive at the bottom, the lights turn on in a bank, sort of row by row, going away from you. The room lights up. It's about a 20 by 40 room. And it's this factory. It's somewhat familiar to you as a dwarf. You know, the dwarves do a lot of craft and assembly and so on. And some dwarves are a bit more artisanal about it and try to sort of do it in smaller spaces where people are a little cramped, but machines don't really take that first point of pride. And other dwarves are much more industrial. They want the large equipment. They want the, enchanted anvils that are very big and impressive. Some of them use automated hammer strikers and other things like that. And this is much more industrial. The floor is covered in conveyor belts, and you see these different constructs just working in sort of a pointless theatrical way. It's kind of like they're an animatron on a Disney boat ride.
Okay. I'll call back up the tunnel. It's fine, guys. Come down. Nothing to fear here. Just a bit of standard technology, old school stuff. I'll wait for it, and I'll see if anyone comes down.
Go ahead, Forrester.
I leap down with aplomb.
Nice.
First time I've ever used that word.
Excellent.
Good.
Nice.
I've got the rope, Mayday. You can go ahead.
We don't need rope anymore because we're going down.
You're not worried about
I'll
sliding?
still go.
No, it's fine. You just thought maybe you'd want to. Okay, just a slide. I didn't want you to look bad.
I'll be fine.
Okay.
So I slide down.
All right, it's really not that hard.
I try to climb down. I don't want to actually slide, but I don't think.
So like you're putting your arms out and like crab walking down, sort of, but you're facing up. It's a little awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of I'm watching this, and I'm and calling back up the tunnel, dude. It's fine.
I don't like slides. I'm coming. I'm almost there.
It's not a great look, is it? If you're on camera,
Yeah.
Sliding down.
Yeah, there's a very small ABS behind Ajax as he does this. He doesn't notice, but it's getting broadcast. All right, so here you are, where that tunnel connects to this room. There's sort of a pad of grid patterned metal, which is stable and free of any trouble, any obstructions, or any particularly strange devices. But around you, once again, you see these differing conveyor belts that make up most of the floor.
Do the conveyor belts run along the length of the room? Could you travel on one?
Oh yeah, I mean, does one conveyor belt take you from this side of the room that you're on all the way to the other side where you can see the exit? No. They go short distances, like 5 to 10 foot stretches, in an odd lattice pattern.
Oh, so are they all over the? I mean, can you not just? You can't just walk.
You can't just walk past
down the room. No, okay.
No, yeah, no matter what. Once you step off this platform, you're on a piece of conveyor.
This is a job, I reckon, for somebody nimble. That's not me. That sounds like a thief's work. That does.
Eventually, we will all have to get to the other side of the room.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just thinking if something, it's got the smell of traps, and things have been built here. Doesn't sound like the sort of place where we're just gonna hop from one to the other, and it's gonna be that simple.
Does it look like there's something across the room that I could like use to turn off the conveyor belts? Something that if I ran nimbly and dodged successfully that I could leap upon and declare.
So sticking up at varying intervals are these sort of Disney animatronic style constructs. And they're very bare bones. They're like a more D&D-ish version of the kind of robots that you see at a GM plant. So like it's an arm and it does one thing over and over to what is effectively a mounted model of a car part. And those are really the only devices that you see around this place. Mayday, what's making you nervous about this room? Paul?
I'm sorry?
What's making Mayday nervous about this room?
Well, it doesn't look like I'll be able to set anything on fire.
Always a minus.
And the last time I saw something like this was either in a board game that I lost or in a, like, whatever the modern D&D version of Robo Rally is.
Yep.
Or at an actual, college level crawl where a friend of mine actually got caught in the workings of a conveyor belt. So I'm not a fan.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. It's all a little too. And besides, even though they're crappy robots, there's some uncanny valley effect of watching those things move.
It's definitely not natural.
Yeah. And even though I deal in the unnatural, I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, Forrester.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just wondering about this panel. You said there's a panel at the bottom of the tube that we came down.
It's what we're standing on at the moment.
Not a panel like a control panel. No.
Right. Sorry. Not the best. Platform would have been a much better word to use, and I did not.
What about, can I assess, I'm a bit of an electronics whiz, can I assess, are there electronics involved here? Do I think I might be able to disable some of them so that we could...
Let's have you make a crafting roll.
Okay.
Of some kind.
So so I never fail. I can treat a 6- as a 7-9 when attempting to execute my electronics craft.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel like glory. I'm protecting my charges. I think that's the only one I can really hit there. In terms of tags. So I roll. Sorry, it's a roll with a +1.
Sure.
Okay. That -1's gone, isn't it, from before? That wasn't ongoing?
Yeah, it was not ongoing.
Yeah, okay.
And you prayed, so.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's see what we got. I don't know what we've got. Let me clear that. 2 dice. I have, oh dear me, only a 5, 6, but I can't fail, so it's a 7 to 9 result.
All right. Good old dwarven heritage. So let's see. You're trying to assess the situation. You're trying to specifically figure out if there's anything you can enact or disable.
Yeah.
All right. So you spend a moment, you look around, and you're like, So because the conveyor belts are covering the entire floor, they are blocking any of the access that you might expect. Specifically, you're kind of worried what's actually underneath them,
right.
And how they are mounted. They're not no-go, so they're probably, well, I mean, you know their size and their material, and you know that they're going to hold up under your weight easily.
Right.
But if you're going to access any of the electronics, unless those conveyor belts move or are destroyed, which would be pretty challenging, even for, say, Ajax.
Mm-hmm.
His weapons aren't made to rip through steel constructions.
No.
You're gonna have to go through the different robots.
Okay. I'll relay that. I'm doing my investigation. I'm looking around. So we're not going to, unless we can cut through this stuff, which looks very difficult, then we're going to have to go over this stuff.
I'll blaze a path for us.
Right.
All right. So, what do you do to blaze a path? Are you elfully striding forward on these conveyor belts?
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll pull out my bow and arrow, and as I'm running forward, I'm going to start firing arrows. And if arms come out of the way to knock them out, then I'll know to duck under this one or to jump over that one, and just keep using that to navigate my way through. So,
all right. So as you run forward, actually, I'm trying to sort of fold in the complication from Shalea's roll result.
Okay.
But I would like you to make a roll.
Okay, of course.
Okay, see how it affects people.
So actually,
these two things combined may affect the team, just to warn you.
Okay.
But let's see what happens.
Okay. So it sounds like I've got a -1 from Sunburn's roll. Is that what you were saying, Jen?
No.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm trying to think fictionally of how the room is going to react to what you're doing. But I really feel like I want to give you a chance to roll before I rule on it and change what's going on in the fiction.
Okay. So I'm overconfident. That's why I just said I'll go ahead and do it. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And the guild loves to send us through these kinds of rooms. So I'm going to use the Specialist Guild's favorite for that.
Okay.
So that's 2d6 plus 2. And I'll click here. And I'll click here. And that's an 11.
All right. So it's pretty easy to trick the robot arms into not striking you as you go past. However, as you move forward in the room, the conveyor belts that are closer to the exit start to go faster.
Okay.
So it's going to become more challenging to get to the green one, not the green ones. Thank you, Ben. To get to the exit platform as you get close to it, without perhaps getting knocked over by the speed and then being at the mercy of the directions of these different conveyor belts.
Okay. So
we should follow you.
Yeah, you should follow me.
We should be following close by, I think. I think I'll do that. I think I would, once I see this is working, I'd be running behind and encouraging the others to follow.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's way better than hanging back. We were here to put on a show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's
show people what you're made of. All right.
If we see a camera, we can the camera as well as we go past.
Yep, do a little mugging. Absolutely. It's always good. Ajax, how are you approaching this weird puzzle?
I'm really just putting my faith in, well, less in Forrester, but more in Sunburn, but in my team, and kind of following the footsteps Sunburn leaves. I have to shorten my stride because, dwarf, but that's what I'm trying to do.
All right, cool. Mayday, do you have any particular things that you're trying to do as you follow Forrester and Sunburn? As the conveyor belts speed up and get trickier to transfer from one to the other?
In fact, I am going to actually try to beat Forrester to the other side of the room. I mean, I have history with the Thieves Guild, So I'm going to be attempting to get to the other side in time to grandstand while he arrives.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm not actually following. I'm trying to note an alternative path that will get me there quicker.
I like it. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay. So I.
Minimal effort, right?
That's a path of least resistance tag right there.
I think that absolutely works. I think that's the only one I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Does the rivalry not have a tag?
Does the what?
The rivalry not have a tag? Or
Oh, and my fame tag. Yeah. Does that work here? My fame?
So I think I'm going to rule the way I've ruled a couple times before. You are welcome to add that tag to this roll. However, no matter what the results of this roll, afterwards you're going to have to make a grandstanding check.
Oh yeah, that's entirely the point of this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I'm rolling +2. I'm just going to roll the dice that are out.
Okay.
And that's a 14.
All right.
Teamwork goes up by 1.
Teamwork goes up by 1.
Yeah, that's great.
Told you it's the green ones.
Yeah.
Only the green one. I'm going to do mine green as well.
Nice. All right. So Forrester is running along, shooting arrows at these different robot arms so that he can go through their path without being impeded with the team. And you're taking a little extra moment to sort of watch the pattern of the different conveyor belts, and you just start walking down a selected path, never, ever, ever going against the direction of the conveyor belt that you're on, only letting it make you go faster. And making the occasional well-timed but small hop to the next belt, letting the belt do most of the work. So you
Shall
never.
I grandstand?
Oh yes, please grandstand now. You make it to the other side of the room without tripping and well before Forrester gets there.
Okay, so in the way that I grandstand is that actually the last conveyor belt, the one that takes me to the platform at the far side, I actually lie down on my side with like my head held up in my, by my fist, and my legs kind of crossed, like I'm lying on a divan in the afternoon waiting for a cup of tea.
That's cool.
And I definitely, my fame tag works.
Yep.
Because that was the whole point. And definitely, I think, let me go back. Which 3 is it? I can't look at both. Is it approach, background, foreground?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's the background because there's some implied rivalry. So the student of the Guild of Magi. And if I'm grandstanding, I can't be taking the path of least resistance. So that doesn't work.
Well, you're going to make this roll with advantage because you just knocked that shit out of the park. So.
Okay. So +2. And I will roll 3D. I'm going to create. And I'm going to take a chance and roll orange ones.
Okay, do it.
Taking your life in your hands here.
That is an 11, taking the highest 2 and adding 2.
Okay. So you will sway the crowd.
Yeah.
Woo! They love it.
What does
So,
swaying the crowd do for me? Mark a section on the. Yeah, that's you.
Yep, it marks
Right.
a section on the crowd clock. When the crowd clock gets filled up, the crowd attitude goes up a level, favoring you better, making further grandstanding rolls easier, as well as any interaction rolls that might take place.
Absolutely. Great.
Yep. Also, because just letting that happen by itself is boring, as you lay yourself down on that final platform, you hear a sound, a soft click. And it's like a progressive click. It's like if more weight got on this platform, there would be more of them.
More clicks.
So
the platform you're on is some kind of pressure plate.
Yeah, so don't put any more weight on that.
Is the door obvious?
Oh yeah, it's a door, it's an exit, it's right there.
Then I will go ahead and go through it and call back to do this one at a time if possible.
All right.
And I'll hold the door open.
Great. You hold the door open for your team. Let's see if you can avoid triggering the plate.
All right. Oh, me or them?
Everyone else.
Everyone else, okay.
Yep.
Well, when I attempt things with an obstinate, stubborn, and direct way, then I get a benefit from my lineage. So I'm going to say, I mean, that personality-wise, I am like that. So I'm going to just try and walk the route directly. Just go walk straight over it. And I'm trying here for the glory. So I'm just trying to prove my value by saying, you know, Apollo will protect me, and I'm taking it fairly casually and just walking across the whole lot.
All right.
To the exit. So I'm going to hit the prove a value with glory goal. And the priestess of the golden archer, I think, maybe, for the protection of my god. Or representing the gods inside the game, one of the two. For a +2, does that sound reasonable?
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay, here we go. Let's find the dice. I'm not going to roll the green dice, you know. That would be cheating. I'm going to stick with the yellow.
All right.
It's an 8 + 2, so 10.
All right. You find your path. You stick with it. You are the only person there when you get to the plate.
Yeah.
And you pass without any particular fanfare.
Yeah, see, that's Apollo. He smiled on me.
All right. Ajax, I want to see how you go next.
Looking through my tags here, I don't see this as the greatest test of my talent. Not put my nickname on it. I don't think you're legendary by going through a door, but I am here to be an extra contender. So I'm not going to let this be a thing that would hold me back. So I think I just have the one tag for that. Does that seem about right?
Sounds good.
I'm going to be rolling green dice here, if I can move all the other dice out of the way.
Okay.
There we go. I rolled a 6, which is down to 4 or 5. And with my +1 tag, that gives me a 7.
All right. So you get there, and it's dangerously close to when Forrester gets there. Forrester.
So, I have an elven thing that says that if I'm doing something in a painfully patient or cautious way, I can't fail. So I'm letting Ajax cross at whatever speed he wants, and I pull out my chewing gum, and I'm chewing on it. I'm blowing a bubble, and I am going as slow as elfly possible. And as the camera comes up, I'm talking about, it's really great that Belafron Motors provided us with all of these great machine arms. You can't beat the realism and power of this trap. It's just uncanny.
Just so authentic.
I truly know what Detroit brings to the game.
Nice.
So
All right.
I'm gonna roll without tags, and let's see what happens. I got a 5, which counts as a 7.
All right. So, yeah, 2 mixed successes between the two of you means that just as Ajax is starting to lift his weight off of the plate at the end, that's when you're starting to step on. You haven't failed. Ajax hasn't failed. However, as you're leaving the room, you see the conveyor belt sort of start to take different heights and then rotate around each other and underneath each other to make space in the room. And just as you're panicking and ready to close the door, you can see this. At first you're like, is that a monster truck? No, that's a classic car. No, that's like 3 classic cars. But they're not supposed to be chopped up like that. And it stands up, and it's like a transformer made out of like Ford Model Ts. And as you're slamming the door shut, it manages to bang a gigantic, like made out of strips of metal and tires, fist against the door. And it like bangs once and dents inward. And you are in the next room. It's actually the first break room of this dungeon.
Which would be a perfect time since it's half past.
Yep.
So call it.
Yep, absolutely. You guys reach the break room. There's food, there's water. Somebody is there with a set of leather armor. What brand is it? Because it's not elf.
Hobgoblin. There's a lot of those about, we've heard.
HBG, yeah.
HBG, yeah.
Just
inferior. Nah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's armor, but it's like bumpy.
Yeah.
It like interferes with some of your gear. The fit's just never quite right. The lining isn't as good.
Sometimes as well, the kind of the normal quilting they'd have to put under there, they've put some cheap hair. It looks like hair. It's like matted hair under there, done on the cheap. Smells as well.
Yep, it's just not the same. But
nah.
You know,
we've been spoiled by the elf stuff.
Truly, but the medical staff, Lupita Flores and Lucio Benari, you know, they each take turns, and they, you know, find somebody who still needs a little bit of patching up at this point. That's just Zaster, actually.
Yeah.
And, you know, water, you can wash your hands, you can have a quick snack. There's a camera. There is not a reporter, just a typical hype man is there. What is their name? Rickard Mathis. Rickard Mathis is there with, a branded microphone, just summarizing, that was a great opening pair of rooms. DJ No made this dungeon with a very early break room. Do you think that means it's going to be easier? Do you think that's going to make it harder to get to the end? And he points it at whoever is close enough.
I'm
I'll
grabbing
say, well, we're slow and steady. Whatever, if it's early, if it's an early break or a late break for us, doesn't matter. Exude confidence.
Any dungeon you can walk away from, I understand.
Yeah. We barely need patching up.
Excellent, excellent. And, passes through, chatter, words for the sponsors, and you'll move on to the rest of the dungeon. I am sad that we couldn't get through more stuff. In fact, in the first draft of the assembly line, that was going to be fully a combat room and puzzle. But I decided to take the combat out of it so that we could get through 2 rooms before the end of the night. By the way, we cleared a room. So add one to the teamwork pool and mark dungeon progress. Boop and boop. Cool. So, yeah, feedback time. How did you guys like it? Did you have fun?
Yes. Yeah, I had fun. Sorry, I thought someone else was going to talk. I had a good time. I really enjoyed the initial, the setup of X-Crawl, the whole, in the green room and the refs, and the world building that you did was great for getting things tonally right, all the kind of images going on in my head, and then flipping it straight to a woods was like, what? That was pretty great.
Yeah, I love that in X-Crawl, you can basically put anything in a dungeon that a demented promoter would put into some other kind of modern event.
Yeah, having not played X-Crawl, I liked that. I liked that a room could literally contain anything, and it would be okay, fictionally appropriate for that to happen. And you actually often play Dungeons and Dragons or games like that where you think to yourself, "Hang on, this doesn't make sense," and yet you sort of want it to. You still want the room to be there because you're actually having mechanical fun playing with it, but
right.
It doesn't fictionally make sense. Here, you don't have that thing holding it back. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, I was actually trying to call back to the druidic rumors.
Yeah.
That you guys established in the first thing.
Yeah, that was cool. I felt we maybe should have played to the audience a little bit more on the druid thing, because that was kind of clearly druidic, that first room.
Yeah, you're right. That was a missed opportunity on our part.
Yeah.
Especially since we did some grandstanding.
Yeah. There were a few things that I didn't do because our comfort with the system wasn't really there yet.
Yeah, I must say that I was having a bit of trouble taking it all in. I know and that wasn't your fault, Jen, because you were taking us through it nice and slowly. But I was having to look at the character sheets, and I was scrolling up and down, and then I was going to the sheet with the player principles on and the core mechanic, and then I was coming back to the player sheets and clicking on the custom moves. And that's just down to me not knowing the system particularly well. Well, not at all, really. So that slowed me down a little bit. I felt I was kind of getting the speed up by the end. I was sort of getting it and getting into the character a little bit more. I could think about the character, less about the mechanics, is what I mean.
Absolutely. Mark, it seemed like you were going to say something.
Yeah, my attempt to call out to the druids was the whole like, when your forest is, filled with beetles, use wall of ice. Like I was trying to you know, this is
Yeah.
a druid spell, but that's as far as I got with that. I love the premise, and I love how it takes, and I love wrestling. Not I don't watch it very much, but I love worldwide wrestling, the game and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so I love all the things that you're doing, and it's a fun sports game. What we're doing is a very fun sports game. Um, I think if I were going to change anything, like I might have put something in, like maybe a treasure chest with some coins in it or something like that, that I could have like been distracted by in the forest or something, where we get extra points for whatever treasure we get on the way through and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Just so that I could have. I mean, I think one of my things is like, what is it? It's
Seeking the most profitable path.
profitable path, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I could be like, hey, let's get the side points. The side points build on the core score, that kind of thing.
Sure,
So,
sure.
but I loved um I love being an elf wrestler who jumps off his teammates and kills beetles. It was tons of fun. I mean, it helped that the dice. I don't think I failed a single damn thing. So
No, they were kind. They were definitely very kind to you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the dice loved you this game. That was pretty.
That was awful. I tried so hard to fail. I mean, I got one failure because I forced a -1 on myself. I rolled a 7. And I gave myself a 6. So, um,
Yeah.
there has to be some failure.
Everybody just has those nights, Mark, where you just can't roll a failure. You got to get used to it.
Yeah.
Rich doesn't have those nights ever.
That is correct.
I'm
I
sorry
still
that
felt
there's.
like my guy got some cool stuff done, so it was fine.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no, I think everybody got a good, fun taste of the action. Most of you got to use your signature move. I was really happy about that. I'm glad that I folded the signature move into the attack roll, the your next attack does a thing, and having that eat your action in a game with such a tight action economy seemed a little punishing once we were actually in a combat. So I'd make that more explicit in a future iteration of these rules.
I also had fun. And I commend you for the enormous amount of work you did to make this possible. And I commend Rich for convincing you to do it.
Yeah,
Suckering
absolutely.
you into doing it.
Yay!
Yes. Yeah, I'm
And
sorry
for the work
that
you did too, Rich.
yeah.
And for the work you did too, Rich.
I didn't do any work other than saying, "Please, Jen, make this awesome," which she did.
Yeah, I mean, he had to say it more than once, so it counts. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys, for being game and for really digging into the X-Crawl concept. It's a little more dense than a lot of other concepts that we could have been playing with, which I think meant that the lead-up time was a little harsher than it could be, even though I tried my darndest to make sure that there wasn't that much character generation or pregame stuff to do.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, you're quite welcome.
I really enjoyed my first experience of Gauntlet.
Great.
Good.
Great.
Glad to hear that.
Is there anything else that you guys think that I could improve, either with my jamming style or with this game in particular, this hack?
I have one comment. This might be just my unfamiliarity with the system. I found that you probably detected this. I found that I felt kind of bad hitting the same aptitudes all the time. They felt like my aptitudes or my character felt like they were kind of general enough that I could hit a lot of them a lot of the time. I felt kind of bad just racking up the bonus for that. So I tried to sort of say, well, I don't really think that applies here.
I hear you, Ben. That's a weird thing about this game versus like if we were playing Dungeon World and you have a +2 in a stat that is the move you're doing, you'd be like, I'm rolling a +2 again. But because it's fictional and because we kind of lobby for it, it sits in that weird space of like having to lobby for the number of tags that apply. It's odd. I made a joke, and I hope it was taken as a joke about the whole like dramatic pause that I'm trying to use too many tags. I didn't mean anything by it. I want to make sure it sounded okay, but that was a weird space.
That's interesting that you guys go ahead. Sorry.
I think, Jen, you handled that in a way that was both instructive and interesting, which was, well, okay, but okay, but if you do that, you're going to have to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the, if this were to be fleshed out more to put in other people's hands, that could easily be part of the Dungeon Master, the DJ's advice.
Yeah.
Which is be generous, but also have consequences. And I think you handled that well.
Yeah,
I agree with the original point as well. That it's hard not to think that when you have these things that look fairly specific, it's hard not to think you're spamming them if you take advantage of them a couple times in a row. But I think that the solution that developed was a good one, and I think that developed on the fly. So commendable.
It's funny that I'm getting this feedback from you guys, because honestly, going into running this game, I expected there to be more lobbying for more bonuses.
And
I
felt I didn't want to take advantage of the system. I felt I wanted to be fictionally honest and
and like I don't really feel like I was pushing back on a lot of that lobbying so much as hanging something on that third tag that let you guys feel like it was fair for you to have it.
Yeah, I think that was good.
So that was a bit more of where I was coming from with that. Also, I wanted to get you grandstanding. So
I didn't get to grandstand.
That clearly would have been what swayed the crowd up. But yeah, we didn't really get to play much with the tags of enemies or crowds.
No.
Which is fine. I think that's definitely second or third session material right there. But you know what? I had a great time. Once again, you guys really tackled the setting and the material with aplomb. I loved a lot of the asides and the jokes and the reality TV, and that Mark triggered a professional reality TV move, but didn't know that it was a move. That was good. So thank you so much, guys. I'm going to let you go unless you have any other final comments.
Just thank you, Jen. I had fun.
Thank you,
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you all. Yeah, you're quite welcome. Have a great evening, y'all.
Great con, everybody.
Yes.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.